All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show on a Thursday down at Levi's with a recap of what happened down here in Santa Clara. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So get there early and get some brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them the Krug sent you. Also, we're brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Call my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. All right, 49ers down here in Santa Clara on a Thursday, getting ready for a cross-country flight that's going to take them to Tampa, where they will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out of the bye week. All right, first of all, a couple thoughts. One, on the matchup. Major advantage for the 49ers. Niners are coming off the bye. They're rested. They're ready. They've caught their breath. They've refocused, and they're going to show up in Tampa ready to play. Tampa, on the other hand, played Monday against the Chiefs. The game went to overtime. Their defense logged over 40 minutes on the field and over 83 plays on the field. So they should come in a little bit tired, a little bit less energetic. They also are going to come into this game with no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. So what do the Niners have in front of them? Well, you got to stop the three-headed monster of Bucky Irving, Rashad White, and Sean Tucker. You got to stop Baker Mayfield. You got to bat down some passes on Mayfield. He throws from kind of a low trajectory, and you can knock some passes out of the air. In the red zone, I think you got to key on Cade Otton. He loves to go to his tight end inside the red zone. And the other thing you got to make sure is that you challenge Sterling Shepard at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't run well, and yet he made play after play after play against Kansas City because they just didn't cover him. Sterling Shepard has great ball skills. He runs terrific routes. He's a veteran receiver who will catch it in a crowd, take a lick, and hold on. So you have to hug up on him. He cannot run. He cannot run by you. But if you don't hug up on him, he will make 15 catches for 88 yards and keep them on the field all day long. So hugging up on Sterling Shepard, taking away Cade Otton in the red zone, stopping the three-headed monster led by Bucky Irving, batting some passes out of the air against Baker Mayfield. All these things vitally important for the 49ers if they expect to go to Tampa and win. Couple interesting things from earlier today. Richard Sherman on his podcast says CMC is in full go for Sunday, unless there's a setback in the next couple days. He expects him to play a significant role this week against the Bucs, adding that Christian could have played against Dallas in the game before the bye week, but they decided to hold him out because he would have 2 extra weeks, right? He would have the week of the Dallas game and the bye week to continue to rest up. So Christian's ready to roll according to the reports. But Sherman does make a great point. There is nothing that replicates game reps, especially with an injury like an Achilles. Football is a fast game. It's a violent game. Just because your Achilles held up in practice does not mean that it will hold up in the game. So we'll have to see how it goes. CMC also goes into this game needing to establish what everybody else already has, right? Everybody else has a rhythm. It's week 10. CMC doesn't. So he's got to establish a rhythm. That's the negative. The positive is that CMC's never gotten to November at any point in his career being this fresh. The lack of activity should make him, whatever he's got, he's got the full tank of gas. Sherman pointed out that the NFC is wide open, and it absolutely is. But he kind of sees it the way I see it, which is if the Niners can make the playoffs, anything can happen. Can the Niners go on the road in the NFC playoffs and find a road to the Super Bowl in New Orleans? Yeah, it can happen. I don't think the 49ers can't beat Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, any of these teams, Philly on the road. I think they could beat all these teams on the road if they had to. So I agree with him. If the Niners can just get to the playoffs, they can make a run. So that's really what it's about. Expect to see the three-headed monster of Christian McCaffrey, J.P. Mason, and Isaac Guerendo. I don't think the Niners are going to ramp up McCaffrey with just some monster load. I think you're going to continue to see all three backs get touches on Sunday. And then, it's basically going to be the Bucs three-headed backfield against the Niners three-headed backfield. CMC, Mason, and Garendo for the Niners, Tucker and White, and Bucky Irving for Tampa. The Niners made a move today. They signed Jalen Graham back to the practice squad, which was good to see. Graham's a talented young player. He needs more development, but it was good to see that he cleared waivers. I'm surprised because he is a great kid and he runs fast and hits like a truck and has a lot of ability. But he's undersized, and he was a late-round pick. Kind of played in a hybrid role, safety, linebacker at Purdue. I believe in Jalen Graham. I've said it a bunch of times. I think Jalen Graham's going to get on the field and show people what he's got, and people are going to be very, very surprised how good Jalen Graham can be. The Ravens made an interesting move today. They released Ngakoue, the veteran defensive end from Maryland, who, they would love to put on their practice squad if he clears waivers. But the 49ers, who didn't get an edge rusher at the trade deadline, man, I think I would have some interest in Ngakoue. I mean, you have Robert Beal. He's very young. You have Sam O. You're utilizing him as an interior rusher at times. Other than that, you got Floyd, you got Bosa, and that's it. I mean, it's Alex Barrett time on the practice squad. So, yeah, man, if you could get a guy like Ngakoue, and I don't know what he's got left, but if he's got anything left in the tank, he was a pretty damn good rusher at Maryland and has been a pretty good, consistent rusher in the NFL for a number of years. So that's an interesting name to keep an eye on. Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt will be on the call for the Niners and the Bucs. Brock Purdy's first win was against Tom Brady and the Bucs, 35-7 Niners. And Brady was asked about in a conference call this week about Purdy, and he said, with Purdy, it's his poise, it's his composure, it's his calm under duress. He said that if he can continue to play with anticipation, he said the last couple of years he's been more of a point guard in this offense, just getting the ball out quickly to CMC and getting the ball out quickly to his weapons. Now, he's going to drive defenses crazy, most likely with the short passing game. So now you've got to defend the run and you've got to defend the short pass. And you can tell Brady's a big, big fan of Brock Purdy. The one thing we didn't get an answer on today is we didn't get an answer on Dre Greenlaw's timeline to return. So there is no timeline yet that we can speak of. Khalil Davis, I asked Nick Sorensen today about Khalil Davis. And, obviously they feel like he can play in a rotation. I talked to Khalil in the locker room. He's ready to go. He's been playing the last couple weeks in Houston's defense, so he's ready to roll. He thinks the wide nine is a perfect fit for his ability to get up the field and get off the ball. So I'm eager to see what Khalil can bring to the mix starting this weekend. Chris Forster talked to us today a little bit about, how powerful Vita Vea is and just what a monster he is in the middle. And the quickness of Kalijah Cansey. I asked him about the blitzing, defense of Todd Bowles compared to what Minnesota did earlier this year, and Brian Flores. And he said, there are some similarities, but there's also a number of differences. They're both blitz-heavy schemes. They do copy some of the same exotics, but there's also some differences. And nonetheless, it's going to be a huge challenge for the 49er offensive line to block this Tampa front. So there you go. That's pretty much the long and the short of it here in Santa Clara. The 49ers are getting ready they will fly to Tampa, I believe, on Friday. And then they're in the morning window Sunday against Tampa Bay. I like the 49ers to win this game. I think they're going to be fresher than Tampa. Tampa 3 weeks ago when they had Godwin and Evans was a totally different offense. Now they're leaning on Sterling Shepard and Cade Otton and Palmer and running the ball. And I just think the Niner defense is going to have a big day against this Buccaneer offense. And I like the Niners to win convincingly. I think it's a big 49er victory. I think they go to Tampa and make a statement. And I think Sunday afternoon we're talking about the Niners as a primo contender inside the NFC. That's what I think we're going to see this week. You never know. You never know how a team's going to come off the bye. You never know how the Buccaneers are going to play on the short week. But I expect to see a tired Bucs defense that can't keep up with this Niner offense. And I expect the Niners to get some turnovers in this game, and I think this is a very one-sided 49er victory. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for being the sponsor of this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.